Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Monday morning? I guess it's Monday. I've lost track of days. I've never had this long off in a row. And I can honestly tell y'all that were it not for the fact that I was working just about every night, I would have trouble doing this stream every day. I did not want to get up this morning to do the stream because I was not at work already. So I guess I picked a good time to do it when I get off work every day, because I've always got to wind down a little bit. Anyway, I hope everybody is starting their week wonderfully. Morning, Mr. Robin, Mr. Nick, Mr. TC, Mr. Ed Durbin. Hope you gentlemen are doing great this morning. Anybody else pop in here this morning yet? Looks like y'all been talking for a little while. Oh, there's Pete. Morning, Pete. Yeah, I don't blame him, Nick. Nah, it's fine. I don't mind. I didn't mind getting up, but I did have more trouble getting out of bed and doing it than getting off of work and doing it. So yeah, during the night and yesterday, I have made a mess on my table. Because I have been sanding on, yeah, y'all can't see the mess. It's out here towards the edge more. I mean, you can kind of see the mess. But I've been working on these knife scales. I've probably put in 4 hours of hand sanding on these scales. I am getting very, very good roundness going on. They're rounding up very nicely. We've got the finger notch put in pretty good up here. I've got the front is starting to get rounded off very nicely. But this is one of those things like whittling, where when you start doing it, it just becomes a monotonous thing. So I've just been sitting here with these sandpaper, and I had it in the clamp, and I was just running it back and forth like this, rounding it out. And before you know it, an hour passes by. But I'm getting all the edges nice and rounded off everywhere, getting it worked up. And I didn't want to use the grinder because I was afraid I would make a big notch somewhere, and I wanted to gently do it. And I enjoyed it. It was therapeutic. In fact, like I said, doing it like whittling, I don't know, just sitting around doing this, there's something about it that just gets very therapeutic. I don't know, it doesn't bother me. And like I said, once you get a little bit done, you want to get just a little bit more, and you just keep going. But with the grinder, I did use the grinder a little bit. It's hard to keep it rolling and keep it exact to get it all even, because I know I would dig in one place more than somewhere else. And I'm getting close to being done, but they're real smooth everywhere. But I've got dust everywhere down here. Oh, and I found a couple of things. So if you're ever doing any sanding, Sharpies work great to make a finger groove. So I wrapped it around a Sharpie And then I started going like this to make that finger, little finger place right there. And this little Japanese knife finally came in handy. I did the same thing with it because it's kind of an oval, so you can widen it out and smooth things out with the little oval. Pretty good. Excuse me. And at first I started by using one of my chopsticks, but it was too little. It wasn't making a rounded off enough for a finger. But that little place feels perfect now. The handles are very rounded out. I've almost got them tapered down here at the front where it meets the blade enough that I like it. So that's cool. I also used this little thing to death before I got my clamp out and started rubbing it back and forth, rounding them out. But this little thing is super nice. Sorry. But yeah, you just sit here and just do this while you're watching TV or whatever, and it just hours fade away. But I've spent about 4 hours hand sanding. No. Possibly. Oh yeah, I was probably. I don't know. I'm still half asleep, Nick. Gotta bear with me for a few minutes. I also just woke up from, I had a fan on me, so I feel like I got the sniffles. But I carried this most of the day yesterday. And man, this thing is super sharp, and the blade shape works very well. So I'm liking it so far with the mods and the color. But yeah, I carried that most of the day yesterday. Let me get then I ordered those other Corby bolts that were shorter to lock these together. And then I realized that I did something stupid. I bought pivots. So these Corby bolts that I have here, or that I had in the knife, they're over here. I put them in my little spring box, but the ones I had in the knife were 4 millimeters in diameter that go through the scales and the blade. But these are 5 millimeters, and these are basically just pivots for folding knives. So when I went to try to put them in here, they wouldn't fit because they were 5 millimeters trying to go into a 4 millimeter hole. So instead of enlarging those holes, because these bolts won't work with the blade in it, so I was like, well, I don't need to enlarge the holes because the ones I've got are 4 millimeter. I decided that this was a sign that we need to start working on a folding knife at some point, because I've already got 10 pivots for folding knives, custom folding knives. So yeah, we might, when we finish this one up, we might move on and try to create a folder. Have to get a couple of pieces of titanium and see what we can do. But anyway, and I almost sent back my 5 millimeter hardened cobalt drill bits, but now I'm glad I didn't, because they match up with the 5 millimeter pivot bolts that I got. So everything works out for a reason. Oh, by the way, right after the stream the other day, I took my flashlight and I shined it over here on the other side of the desk, and I found that washer that flew off into Kingdom Come. It was just laying there on the floor over there. It was right beside the extension cord that I've got that runs over here to plug everything up. So I did find that washer that I lost. Yeah, I'm still going to put some weight reduction holes in here, and but I didn't need to swap out. These have worked fine. I cut down some of those bolts, the bolts I had, and I've had enough room to sit here and sand all this, so it is what it is. I don't necessarily need anything else to finish that up. I have not seen what they look like on the knife. I kind of would like to do that. If y'all don't mind, oh yeah, what were y'all talking about in the chat before I got here? What's going on in the chat? Everybody good? Let's see. Body in motion wants to stay in motion. That's okay, TC. That's life. Oh yeah, it looks like TC hurt his back. Looks like. Hope you get to feeling better, buddy. Back pain sucks. I know firsthand. Anything else going on in the chat? Let's see what these handles look like back on the blade. Oh, road trip for your daughter. Okay. Well, congrats on your daughter, but sorry about the road trip hurting you. Yeah, the shilling cutter blade shape is very useful. It's kind of funky looking, of course, but yeah. Oh, by the way, so yesterday, hold on, let me get these thrown back on. Oh wow, yeah, that transition against the metal is looking good there. A lot better than it did. Not such a harsh edge. So that knife that someone showed me on Love Them Knives yesterday during the stream, I sent him a message. It was listed for $299. It was that Doc Schiffer Recon, and it was priced at $299 on Love Them Knives. And once again, I want to let y'all know that if you do have if you do want to make an offer, all you gotta do is send an email, make your offer, and he will pass it on to the person selling the knife. And if they accept your offer, they will change it on the website. They don't really do anything except change the price on the website, so anybody could grab it at that point. It's not really locked in for you, but I was able to go back. Oh, wow. Man, that feels so much better with those rounded edges. Sorry. I was able to go back and get that knife for $260 instead of $299. So I was super happy about that. Yeah, I told my sister's having some back trouble at the moment. Might have to have surgery. And I told her to check out a teeter. But, of course, some back injuries, it's okay to use a teeter, and then there's some that it's not. But I mentioned to her specifically exactly what you said about your teeter, about how it was the best thing you'd ever gotten and fixed your back, and so she was going to check that out if her condition warrants being able to use one. Yeah, man, the lines on this thing are looking really nice. Getting rounded everywhere. Transition down to the blade. I've got to get it a little bit. It looks pretty symmetrical though. This side looks maybe a little thinner, so I'll work on this side some. But rounded off nicely. That finger groove locks in perfectly. So I'm happy with that. That's cool. But yeah, so I got that something else we saw on possibly maybe Reddit that I was gonna look at. Wait, I'm trying to think. I think I bought something else too, is what I'm getting at. What else? Oh, sorry. I got oh yeah, the Reich that Reich 1508S that I had been asking about. It just never sold on Knife Swap. So the guy that had it, I had shot him an offer of $250 a while ago, and I kept just kind of checking in with him, saying, "Hey man, my offer still stands if nobody shows any interest." So I ended up getting that one too. I had to be a man of my word. He came back to me and said, if you still want it for $250, it's yours. So I had to take him up on that, because I'm not a liar. If I tell the guy I'll take it for a certain price, if he doesn't sell it, then I will. But it is the one, let's see, Reich. Is this one right here that he started listing 17 days ago. So I've got that one on the way. I kept thinking today was Sunday. I lost today somehow. So I guess I'll be getting my Karas today as well from White Mountain Knives, because it is actually Monday, right? I believe it's Monday. So I'm looking forward to getting that knife today. And on the table here, we've got another integral, that Monterey Bay Knives one that needs to go in the bag with my other integrals. But this Reich will be another one yet again. And he said this one had a few snails on it. It doesn't want to go full screen. So I'll probably end up bead blasting this one, and that'll be fun. He said mainly on the clip, but he said there's a couple on the body. But that actually looks big enough. Oh yeah, he put skiffs in it as well. So I don't mind getting it for the price I paid, with it including skiffs. And it looks like it has superb action. So that'll be a cool one to grab. And then, if y'all don't mind hitting that like button, that'd be awesome. And then last night, I ran across, well here, let me show you for those of you who didn't see it, Doc Schiffer, whoa. Doc Schiffer Recon, love them knives. So that's the one I got. You can see the price drop from $299 to $260. And instantly when I looked at it, y'all know what I thought. I was like, well, that thumb stud has got to go. So that made me make a post on Reddit that everybody seemed to have way different opinions on knives and what they thought of flipper tabs and what they thought of the looks of knives in general. But I was able to take and post a picture of what it would look like before and after the flipper tab treatment. And I think the bottom one, I don't think there's any comparison. I think the lines of the knife on the bottom make it almost look like a totally different knife. So I hope to turn it in to looking exactly like the one on the bottom with a big sharpening choil instead of the little one that it had before. And yeah, I like the lines on the bottom one way better than the top one. I like the logo. I don't mind that logo. If it was a word, if it was something other than his logo, I wouldn't like it. And I don't think it has anything on the other side. Let's see. Yeah, it's totally plain on the other side, so I'm good with. It's got just a little shield up there at the top, I guess. Made in the USA. But he's from Mississippi, Leakesville, Mississippi. But these knives are $495 new, so I almost got it at half price. Oh no, Nick. People hardly even mention the flipper tab. As far as resale, they liked it for deployment. They didn't like it because of resale. And nowadays there's lots of companies that make both versions anyway, so if done correctly, it shouldn't. If it looks factory, then it shouldn't really affect the value too awful much. I mean, unless you're talking about a $2,000 knife or something. Morning, Mr. Fred the Lug. If I didn't say that earlier, I saw you hop in. You said you're in the car, I believe. But yeah, I believe the 3-inch plain I don't guess he has them on his website at the moment, but they were yeah, $495. I guess he's making a value line of them with some Nitro V blade steel. Yeah, and I'm not sure the one I got actually. Now that I think about it, mine could be the Nitro V version. I didn't even look, to tell you the truth. I might have gotten the Nitro V version. Doesn't really say. Oh, AEBL blade. That's alright too. I would rather have that than Nitro V because I didn't have one with AEBL. But then that led me to getting some kind of crazy, I got a crazy bundle last night on Knife Swap, and I partly got it due to the fact that it had a watch in it that someone had been discussing in the Discord about wanting a certain watch. Yeah, Robin, it is the value line, but let's see. So I bought this anyway. I bought this bundle because of the watch that was on it, in it, and the watch is a Timex Expedition. It came with 3 watches, 3 Ozark Trails, a buck, and a scalpel balisong. And I'd been wanting one of those Ozark Trails, the aluminum one in the middle, to try out. And actually the one at the top, neither one of those I have. I've got a couple of the orange and black ones. But it came with those 3 watches, 2 Timex and a Casio. And they're all unused. And I got the whole bundle for $80. But I've been wanting to check out that Ozark Trail knife. Reminds me a lot of the Ashers. And then this aluminum one, really been wanting to try out. And there's the standard old school D2 one. And here's the scalpel balisong. It comes with a pack of all the scalpel blades. That'll be cool to have, just to mess around with. And then we were talking about bucks, so glad I got me another little buck folder. And the watches look good. That's the Expedition with the leather band. But heck, I got the whole thing for $80, and that watch is $45. It's never been worn. Along with this one, Waveception. Not usually my style of watch, but it'll be cool to have one. And the Indiglo Timex. That'll be cool to have for a retro day. Well, that's awesome, Nick, to hear about AEBL. Doc Schiffer Recon Field Grade. Let's see. Field Grade Recon. Yeah, that's the one. That one has Magna Cut, but the Field Grade was the one I looked at the price on. Field Grade Recon. And I don't know, Magna Cut seems to be used in everything, so I wouldn't have cared about the Magna Cut version, but the AEBL doesn't bother me either. Is that what this blue one is? No, that one's Magna Cut as well. So I don't know where the AEBL one came from, but still a good deal regardless. Let's see here. Anything going on in the knife picks? The Discord, not much. All right. So yeah, I don't know. Buying bundles every now and then is cool. Andrew said this guy's pretty well known on another Ill Will. Sells a bunch of bundles on EDC Exchange on Reddit. I'm not a big user of it yet, so. Morning, John. How are you doing, sir? How is life treating you this morning? Oh, I almost bought. Speaking of John, it reminds me. I put an offer on a Kunwu Zen yesterday. After buying this Chad, but I wondered how big the Zen was. Wonder if the Zen is a big enough one that I would like it. Right offhand, I don't even know the size of it. But I did put an offer on one that was popped up on Knife Swap. Believe that was his first knife he bought off a Knife Swap. I'm wondering how he's liking it. What have y'all gotten in new or getting in today or this week? Anything cool? Oh, the Zen is PM2 size. That's plenty big. I forgot what I put in here. Oh yeah. On my trip back, I put this in my little pouch along with, oh yeah, what I carried that day. You can see the nice tape residue on the back of that. I opened some boxes. I hate sticky tape residue. Like the worst ever. Basically just gotta apply pressure to get it off. Got an old paper towel here. Use a little gumption, a little force, and get most of it off. Liquid doesn't hurt, but usually that glue stuff will come off if you rub it hard enough. That's what she said. Yep, all this hard use box opening I'm doing. I about got it clean. I think there's might be one more little spot on the other side still. I've been watching, man. I ran across some videos on YouTube of some sneaker guys that buy sneakers all day long. Ramy the Icon. Any of y'all ever seen him? And it made me start to reminisce about back in the day when I was into sneakers. And it's crazy how much some of these shoes are worth now. And actually, some of the ones that aren't even that old are worth a ton. Some of the older ones aren't worth as much as some of the newer ones that were just limited releases or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Are any of y'all into sneakers? I had a buddy who used to buy every pair for a while that came out, and he had a whole closet that was just stacked full of boxes. He never wore them. Didn't seem like. But I bet he's gotten rich off of those over the years. Let's see. Let's go look up the... I didn't even... I didn't even know the Zen existed until John bought one, I don't think. So 3.43 inch blade. It's only $209 on their website, so very reasonably priced knife. I think after we went through them all, I think the ones with the 3.7 inch blades are the ones I said already. There's the Jericho. Let me check and see how long the blade is on it. 3.42. So yeah, the Excalibur 3.58. Let's see. I like the Stiffy D. That was not a good comment. Not a good quote from me. The Gringo has a 3.66. So the Gringo is one of the bigger ones. The Django XL is a 3.7. So 3.7, 3.66. The Chad 3.77. And the Pulsar XL 3.87. So I've got the biggest ones, I guess. And these 3.46 is a little smaller. Xtal 3.54. So yeah, did I read the Excalibur right, or was I reading the Cutting Edge? Excalibur size. Yeah, 3.58. It's still not quite as big as the other ones. The Jericho, what was it again? 3.42. Do any of y'all have a Jericho yet? Have y'all held a Jericho? I haven't. Oh, so the Geronimo will be coming out. I wonder, John, why don't you find out when the one I ordered will be coming out? Oh, it is the Gringo. Wait, the Gringo with the Vertilock. Find out when it's available, because I bought one of those. Seems like 3 or 4 months ago. So now I just realized I don't need a regular Gringo because I bought the one with the Vertilock. So I've got that big knife covered. I thought that was a good deal. $269 when you pre-order it. I just wish I knew when I was actually get it. Just like we're supposed to be getting our whatchamacallits, any day now. Our Strix. I don't know when the Strix pre-order is going to be fulfilled either. Delivery is 6 months. So June, so December possibly, but I heard it was supposed to come out before then. Thought it was supposed to come out September. Did anybody else besides me and Pete pre-order a Strix? I think Pete got one. Not positive. Any of y'all get a Strix? So right now I have, I guess, 5 knives that I'm waiting on pre-order. Now I've got 6 now because I've got my Evo 1.1s that should be here just any day now. I'm waiting on the call to get these. And then I've got the Asgard, both from NC Blade. So both of those were pre-orders. Then I've got that Kunwu Crew Gringo with the Vertilock and the orange peel. So, and then I've got the Laconico Gambit series. That was a pre-order. Oh, I forgot another one. Got that one. And then I've got that Spark EDC one. Y'all think is a toy. I'll tell you what. I love Stassa 23's reviews. And he was surprised by that knife and did a ton of cutting with it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we got something kind of interesting. This right here is the Spark EDC Spin. Are you somebody who sits on the couch, opens and closes, fidgets with your knife all day? Well, if you answer yes, this might be a better answer for you. Does your wife give you the snake eye because she hears thwack? Well, stay tuned. We'll see what this one has to offer. So the Spin is a Kickstarter campaign knife, and at the end of this, if you are interested in picking up one of these, I will have it linked down below in the description. When I'm recording
this, Mitchell.
July 30th, 2025, if you decide to pick one of these up, today and today only, they will be 39% off for a super early bird. I think the price is...
But yeah, he does... He does...
So spear point blade. So it's going to be legal in all areas with 3 and under blade laws. And your blade steel on this one is Bowler M390. It has a nice satin finish on it. Top swedge that comes down to thin out that tip some. So you have a good tip for piercing. And this.
But he does tons of cutting with it.
And we'll check that out in just a minute. A long row, but if you choke back right here, you can definitely get your thumb on there. Your blade stock thickness on this one's coming in at 0.126, and you have this flat grind that comes down to around 13 to 14 thousandths behind the edge. Why don't we see what this one can do?
So you know he goes through and does tons of real world testing. And the thing he said he was surprised
to these new brands, especially when you come out with a gimmick like on this knife, I don't really expect too much. I'll be perfectly honest, and I know I shouldn't be like that, but that's usually the case. However, I was pleasantly surprised whenever I first started cutting this cardboard on how incredibly sharp this one came out of box. Now, on the latter end of that, sometimes the companies want to make a good first impressions, so they put a lot of effort into it, and then hopefully they just stay like that. But so far it's doing good, and I was really worried that this little gimmicky, clicky gear thing was going to be a super hot spot whenever I was doing this. But how my hands sit, I didn't feel that at all. The only thing I did kind of feel is the lock relief just a little bit whenever I was really, really squeezing hard. But I was just shocked I didn't really feel the gear. You know, that's what I was expecting. But just look how easily it's going through this 1/2 inch thistle rope. You know, this one was tested with 4 other knives that day, and this one, hands down, did the best. And look how sharp the blade is. All the other knives had 3.5. One of them had close to a 4-inch blade. I was pretty darn impressed. Of course, hope it makes it all the way to the end like this, but I never felt like it was slowing down in the least. That drop point.
So it was good to hear him say he tested 4 knives that day, and this one did the best.
Showing you can use that tip rather easily to make your fine detail cuts, and to my surprise, this one never slowed down, not for 1 second. I didn't even check the geometry on it, but it feels like it's nice and thin, or it could just be a screaming sharp edge that did not let up, and made sharp work of the denim, and I was very, very impressed, especially for their first knife. Great job. Well, I have to be honest, I had my doubts, and I had to eat my words very quickly after seeing how well this one performed. And I expected it to have some ergonomic issues. We'll talk about those in just a second, but let's talk about the deployment and action on this one. So you can see you have that roll around top flipper, front flipper. So
yeah, it's not as much of a toy as y'all thought it was.
No matter where you grab it from, it grips the finger nicely. You have dual thumb studs that are accessible. So that front flipper, you can do the regular roll around flip, top flip, knuckle roll, however you want to do it. It's very easy and enjoyable to do, and I'm not even a front flipper fan. Thumb studs work great. You can reverse flick off those studs. You can slow roll. Very well tuned detent, riding on cage ceramic bearings and a ceramic detent ball, giving it that nice glassy smooth action. Now let's take a look at this handle. So we have a very steampunk-esque looking frame. You have titanium scales, and then just a lot going on here. This knife's claim to fame is a fidget monster. You got all the fidgetability in your flipping action, and then you have this sprocket looking wheel right here that has a switch. So right now you switch to this way. You get some resistance, and you have like an audible click to it. And then if you want to spin freely, you pull this little button back right here, and you can use it as a fidget spinner. Well, my thought was that whenever I was doing the wood shaving, that it would be very uncomfortable. Because I mean, you could see it sticks up above the scales. Well, whenever I was doing power cutting, I like to choke up. So you got a flat spot up here. I was choked up. That way I got well enough handle there for my medium-sized hands, and I was able to get a lot of force into what I was cutting. And if you look, whenever your hands wrap around, the handle's wide enough that where my hands sit, I don't even feel that. Now, whenever I was pushing really hard, I said it in the video, I could actually feel the relief cut right there a little bit. Not bad. And then a little bit right here where it gets thin. The very top of this right here, you can see you got...
Anyway, he did some real world testing with it, and it wasn't as much of a toy as he thought it was going to be either.
I didn't do this. A little
so, anyway, just wanted to show that. But that was another one I had ordered. And I think I ordered one more off of Kickstarter. What else did I ordered one a few weeks ago that we talked about. Same day I was talking about that titanium ruler or measuring tape. And I can't remember what that one was. I did not buy one of those Dead Man Designs or something that we looked at on Kickstarter. That was a cool knife. But I did not get one of those. Oh yeah, I bought one of those Thai Novas. So I'm waiting on it as well. The little maglock knife. I like the fact it's got the little spots for the tritium. So yeah, I guess the Voyage Blade Works, that Spark EDC, and this Thai Nova are the three that I, is it Deadwood? What was the name of that guy that made that knife? We looked at. I believe most of y'all liked the look of it. It was called the. Dang it. Was it Dead Man? He had that logo that we looked at too. But I believe he did get backed. Maybe he didn't make it. I'm not sure. Not seeing the knife, so not a good sign. That would have sucked to put your money in and not gotten one. I cannot remember the name of that knife to save my life. I can't even remember the name of. Morning, Gonzo. I did say good morning, Mitchell. The Hive. No, I didn't get the Hive from Aurora. What is the name of that? Is it Dead Man Co? Was it Dead Man Co? Can't remember. He had the Elixir. That's what it was called. So I was gonna pre-order that one, but I didn't. Although I did like
Hey
it.
y'all, I'm Matt, founder of Deadman Design Co., and I'm very excited to officially announce our first product, the Elixir.
That one looks a little bit like the
Elixir
Goon.
features a 3 1/4 inch compound ground Magna Cut blade with a forward finger notch for those tacks that require a little extra precision. It also has a large thumb hole and cage ceramic ball bearings for easy one-hand deployment. We went with grade 5 titanium handles with internal milling for weight reduction, all titanium hardware.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the Serpent's Run Goon. I think that's partly why I didn't get it. But
the Elixir is going to come in 2 configurations. One, full titanium stonewash, and the other, full DLC stonewash. All of our knives are backed by a lifetime warranty. If there's any manufacturer defects, if something goes wrong, or if you just need some parts, please contact us. We want everyone to enjoy owning a Deadman Design Co. product, and we want you to be able to own it for a long time.
But yeah, I like the look of it.
Deadman Design Co. has been a
I'm actually wondering why now I didn't actually get one. Because I like it. And I like the fact that they started out by doing 3D printing prototyping. So they went through batches and batches to get the right look and feel that they wanted. That was super cool. Yeah, I liked pretty much all that. And I think it was OEM'd by Riot. He tells who the OEM was. Says he started out by trying a couple of different people. Let's see. Yeah, he reached out to Riot and spoke to them about being the OEM for this project. So it's a Riot knife for $280. I kind of wish I would have grabbed one. So Indiegogo is another one, and I believe one of them on Indiegogo. What happens if an Indiegogo project fails? Yeah, so you lose your money on Indiegogo if they don't finish. So it's not a guarantee. It's you lose it if it goes through, if it makes it, I guess, to, if it gets backed, but then something can happen, you can still lose your money. So there's a weird flexible funding allows you to keep your money raised and it doesn't hit its goal. Yeah, I don't know. There's something going on where at some point you're not guaranteed. And I don't know which one has had more trouble than the other, but one of them has had more trouble than the other. And it's pretty cool to just go on them and check every now and then for titanium knife and see what's coming up. That's how I ran across that Thai Nova. Actually, I might have seen a ad for it. That one looks like that. That's that same knife. That's that one I bought. What in the world? So somebody had that knife made, and then they started producing it in China and just started selling it. I guess that happens a lot with some of these. That's when it matters which OEM you use, I guess. Blade Legend. Yeah, that's the same exact knife with the milled blade. That's pretty wild. I didn't realize it started out as a 12 days left. It hasn't even been funded yet, and you can already get one. Pretty wild. Yeah, Nick, that's not even a case of them stealing it. I mean, it's the exact knife. Like the company, and that's another problem with Chinese OEMs, the lower tier ones, because like I said, they'll get the CNC files from this guy right here to produce them, send him a few prototypes, and then just start mass producing them. At least when you buy some from Riot, you know that they have your files and they're not going to like share it with all the other smaller tier manufacturers. Coming soon, Scarab. Huh. That one's got a lot going on. Got a little bit too much going on for me. But yeah, that wasn't even a case of them just stealing your idea and kind of copying it. That was an exact copy. I mean, that's the actual same knife. Like, Thunder. There's a lot of those replaceable blade knives. This is one that almost backed when it was with Big Idea Designs used Kickstarter, but the Thai Pocket Knife 2 was one of the first ones that I ever thought about backing. And it's good to see they're from my home state, Chattanooga. So I'm glad they got the push from Kickstarter that they did get in order to get to where they've gotten to. They really just took off running. And now Big Idea Design has got lots of things that they're making. So awesome way to get started. It's helped a bunch of people start their companies, but yeah, Big Idea is really stepped up since back when they first launched those two knives. They got watches and pins and tools and backpacks and accessories. USA made. And I like the fact that they're from my state and they name their knives like this Overlook and the Lookout. I believe Lookout Mountain is in Chattanooga, in the city where they're from. So I like supporting other Tennessee companies. Yeah, what were y'all talking about being something out west or something? Uh, who are you talking about, TC? TKL? Uh, I have no idea what they did to Lefty, but whoever or what somebody did. Uh, yeah, that was a collab. The pin, the battle worn bolt action pin. They're from Chattanooga, Tennessee. TC, what were you saying about from your state? They're for my state. I don't like the fact. I'm confused about what you. Yeah, Big Idea is in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but curious about who you're talking about in your state. Yeah, I like Lefty too. Oh, it picked me up? Okay. I got you, TC. Yeah, that's what confused me. So what happened with Lefty and them? Uh, Yeah, what happened? What's the story? Nick, you said you just saw that. What did you just see? Yeah, I'm totally lost. I'm sure it's on Instagram. It seems to be where the drama lives. Well, that sounds pretty wild. Is Lefty himself the one that mentioned that? Or where did that come out? Was it in one of his videos, I guess? Or was it on where was this talked about? Oh, so it's just some gossip running around. Okay. I get it. I don't get into a lot of the he said, she said gossip stuff, and never know what the real story is. There's always three stories: yours, mine, and the truth. But yeah, that would suck if that was the honest case. So anything else going on the Instagram knife scene? Like I said, I don't get into much drama, but I know people like to talk about it, so. Oh wow. Look at that thing. What in the world? Look at the name of that thing. Hand forged face, mosaic baked color surface, ruby gold wrapped button fruit knife, pocket knife. Color, Egyptian mosaic. What in the world? I've seen it all now. Yeah, that is outlandish. Uh, yeah, the Code 4 cold steel was on sale for $59.99, which was great price at Midway. I don't know. I'm sure it's actually it still is. You can get a half price. Let's see the clip point, the spear point, and the. Let's see if they're all on sale. Nope, the spear point and the Tonto are still the same price, but the clip point, $60. Yeah, Nick, I've got something right now. that I'm supposed to review. It's a little sharpener, and they sent it to me early, and they sent me an email that said there was a problem with it. So I want to read this to you, so y'all will know how. And you got to respect this. This is totally what companies should do. So I got this email that says the Blade Professor is on its way to you, and it says, in the prototype you received, the orange rubber insert for the diamond rod may not fit perfectly in the prototype version. However, we have already improved this and everything will fit perfectly in the final version. Please watch the short video attached to this email with the explanation. Please do not mention this little problem in the video, as it would give a false impression of the product quality of the final version. And it says, thanks, kind regards. So here was my response. That's what I'm talking about, TC. So I responded and I said, okay, but in full transparency, wouldn't it be better to address it and say it is a prototype and show the video saying that it has been addressed in the final retail version? And then he finally responded and said, yes, that would be great, so that the viewers will be aware of the features and quality of the final retail version. Thanks, Chip. So I basically told him I wasn't going to not mention it in the video, and I was going to mention it, and I thought it would be better for them to have full transparency about it. And he responded to me and said, yes, that would be fine. That way they know that it was addressed in the final version. So companies need to be able to take criticism. So I thought that was super cool that he said fine. I was expecting him to say, okay, well, just don't do the review then, or whatever. But he didn't. But yeah, I definitely responded. Letting him know I'd rather be fully transparent. To answer your question, TC, what do I think about it? I think it would be great for serrated knives. And I think it's a great little tool overall to sharpen knives. It's called the Blade Professor. If y'all haven't picked up on what I'm talking about, but yeah, being able to use that little rod to sharpen serrated knives seems very handy. The rest of it, I mean, it is what it is. I know that lots of people don't want to go through the process of sharpening their knives, but that little diamond rod to get in serrations is super cool. And lots of people don't like wasting time sharpening their knives, so they ruin their edges using these things. And for a quick sharpen in your kitchen, they're not bad. But they do ruin your edge, and they're terrible for knife edges. If you go look up any kind of real sharpener guys, they will tell you why they're so bad. But lots of people have those in their kitchens. I mean, those things sell like crazy. So it is what it is. But I do like the little part for sharpening serrated knives, because it's kind of hard to get the right size file, and the way that one's tapered all the way down, you can find a spot on it where it'll fit any kind of serration. but I don't. Yeah, Pete, those carbide. Have y'all seen? I know y'all have seen that guy. Yeah, it has both. It has a coarse one and a fine one. The ceramic one won't be bad. But have y'all seen that guy that does the videos about that little carbide sharpener? Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a little tiny piece of carbide that he uses to sharpen, and it's called like the Sharpen Daddy or the Sharp carbide knife sharpener, easiest. Speedy Sharp. Yeah, it's like the Speedy Sharp, but it's called something else. And there's a guy that does videos. And he gets joked on. And I can't think of the name of his. Speedy Sharp should get me close. I can't remember. It might be, yeah. It is this. It is the Speedy Sharp. So, I think sharpens best. Yeah, that's it. It's this guy. This guy right here. Have y'all seen this guy? Sharpens best. He's a clown. But he uses this little piece of carbide. But this guy is funny. And he's got some short, like, people bring, like, he has the videos where he shows himself sitting at a knife show. He sets up at knife shows, and somebody, yeah, so Brad Buckner. And if you get good enough with that little thing, yes, you can put an edge on a knife, but anyway, that guy's pretty funny. Whoa. But yeah, he's if you haven't seen that little thing, the Sharpens Best, right here. But check those little things out. They're just carbide. But yeah, if you want to if you want to look up pull-through knife sharpeners, and this guy is a great is a great channel. If y'all aren't subscribed to Outdoors 55, Outdoors 55. Yeah, but if y'all want to see what it actually does, oops, y'all can't hear it.
Not able to
Sorry.
get a very good picture of, since it is pretty much translucent white ceramic, which means that I cannot expose properly with the setup that I have. At least I'm not able to with my limited knowledge of macro photography, but this is what that looks like. So the knife I'm going to be using is just one of my wife's cheap Pampered Chef kitchen knives. The edge is not in very good shape. It has all kinds of chips in it and is extremely dull. Let me show you what it looks like first before we sharpen. Here's what it looks like. As you can see, we have a very bad looking edge, and these large chips are going to come back to haunt us in a second. After a few passes, this is what the edge is starting to look like. As you can see, we are starting to round over some of those large chips, and that's bad. And as we progress a little bit farther, you can see we start to introduce a little bit of a wavy pattern into the edge of the blade due to those chips. Now what happens when you want to remove that wavy chippy pattern on the apex of the blade? Well, you need to run it through the sharpener a whole bunch more times, which actually makes the problem even worse. Let me show you. Now here's what the edge looks like after what I'm going to call a complete reprofile on the carbide pull-through knife sharpener. And this is one of the ugliest apexes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's just not good. Now here's another section of blade where the wavy pattern is even worse, and as you continue to use this sharpener, these waves are just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, and there's no fixing it unless you
he's
a
awesome.
more traditional sharpening method.
He's a great sharpener,
Now this
Mitchell.
is the main problem with these style of sharpeners, is if you start out with a blade that looks like this, a blade that has all kinds of chips and damage along the edge, these sharpeners simply make those chips and damage even worse. Now the knife may appear to be a little bit sharper, and it is in some ways. It will cut some things, but the fact of the matter is that as you use the sharpener, the worse and worse this is going to get, to a point where you can't even use the sharpener anymore because the waves and chips in the knife edge are so bad that it won't even pull through the carbide sharpener. So what about the fine side, you may ask? Well, I tried the fine side and it didn't really do anything. Looking at the sharpener up close, it looks like the ceramic immediately clogged and or started to chip away. And so no, the fine side doesn't actually refine the edge any more than what the coarse side did. The fine side will not remove those deep indents in the blade left by the coarse side. So in my opinion, the fine side is completely useless. The problem with these style sharpeners is that they just remove way too much steel completely indiscriminately. They remove it in the places that you don't want to remove it from, as well as places that you do. And so if you equally remove the steel from both of those places, you end up with these big old chips and divots in the blade that just keep getting worse and worse. When using something like a more traditional sharpening stone, you spread out the contact area on the flat surface. So rather than having a very fine point of contact from a carbide corner,
He's a great sharpener
you have a
too.
large, flat, abrasive surface to help remove steel evenly across the knife edge. And the difference between the two is night and day. So here's the carbide pull-through sharpener after it's been hit on the carbide and the ceramic side. And here is a Shapton Korematsu 1000 grit sharpening stone. This is actually the same section of blade that was used on the carbide sharpener, and it's been fixed with the Korematsu 1000 grit sharpening stone. And here's the carbide edge. This is where those waves started to get really bad. And then this is the same section of blade after about 5 minutes on the Shapton 1000 grit Korematsu. You can still see those 3 chips in the blade, which will work out over time. Now yes, a more traditional sharpening stone does take more practice in order to use.
So they ruin your blades. What are you looking forward to, Sever? Oh yeah, I showed it a couple of days ago on the stream. Might have been yesterday. I was mentioning how I liked the fact that that I didn't need another crossbar lock knife, but that this one was interesting. Yeah, we just looked at it yesterday, Sever. Yeah, I added an alert for that one on my knife swap list because of how much I liked it. I've got the Quell, Quuell, and this is the Quoll. The Kaiser Quell I do have. Yeah, I showed both of those yesterday on the stream, Sever. Not sure. Oh, it's all good. Yeah, we went through Blade HQ's new stuff, or coming soon or whatever. But you picked 2 that I picked, so that shows that our likes are kind of lined up. Give me just a second and I'll show you all that Quell, which is probably the previous version of that one. Hold on. Yeah, let me grab that Quell, because it's probably real close to what the Quoll is going to be, and I wouldn't be surprised, of course. The names are way too similar for it not to be made by the same guy or designed by the same guy. So hold on. My stupid boxes don't have stickers on them yet, and I don't know which ones are which. So my Kaiser box needs a new sticker, but here it is. Let's see. Here's the Quell. I reached right in there, and the first thing I grabbed was it. So yes, Sever, we talked about Scott got his in too, I believe, or it was out for delivery yesterday. But this is the Kaiser Quell, Quuell instead of Quoll, and there's the designer, Kevin Kyman. But that is the Quell, and it's a super cool little knife. It's a flipper tab only, so not much you can do when it's that narrow besides have a flipper tab. But that is the Quell. And then the Quoll, let's see. Nope, it was designed by a different person. So that's weird. So Kaiser is just recycling names. And they made this one a front flipper. But the lines on it, let me show you here. See if I can show you. They're pretty close. They're not terribly far. The end of it, the pivot end, is bigger on the Quell. And it looks like the clip end is bigger on the Quoll. So they kind of reversed those. And then they added the front flipper. And lock bar access cut out. But that is the Quell versus the Quoll. I myself like the Quoll better, but as you saw, the guy's name on the blade was not Ben Talbert. I just think it's weird that they named a knife that when it's not even designed by the same guy who made the Quell. Huh. That's different. Yeah, I thought I pre-ordered that knife. I could have sworn I put the $5 down, but I didn't. So I missed out on it. So you say it feels good? Feels like a more expensive Chavez is what you were trying to say, I guess. Love my Kaisers. They make lots of good ones. And every company is going to have some screwy stuff that happens in their business practice over time, so it doesn't surprise me that some people have problems with all different knife companies at times. I love the T1. T1 is an awesome knife. So is there zero blade play, Sever? With the lock on it? Like, does it have just any kind of blade play, minuscule, tiniest bit? Or is it super, super solid? Because the one thing I noticed about this Kunwu is their crossbar seems flawless. Like, I think companies could do a better job of making sure that crossbar lock knives lock up perfect. And that's just by doing a better job machining where they interface together. And if you were to put a slant on the back of a blade the same way that you do on a frame lock, and you make the surface that interfaces with it good and flat, like on these Kunwus, there shouldn't be any issue with getting a good solid lockup. But some knives they leave it round, and then where it meets the blade is not a flat on flat. But this Kunwu crossbar lock and all of their crossbar locks seem to have lots of room to move forward more if it needed to in order to lock up perfect every single time. So I was super impressed with this Chad and how stable the lock is. I've been super impressed with all my Kunwu, I guess, X-Lock knives. But different companies use a different way to interface with the blade and the shape of the surface that interfaces with it. And some of them get hung up and you feel a little, like a burr almost. You can feel it catching. But the Kunwus, they move on top of the blade quite a distance. And it feels like they have even more room to move forward, and it doesn't bottom out. It doesn't go all the way to the front. So even after use and wearing down, I bet it still maintains. Lockup, good lockup. But Kaiser does a great job with their clutch lock, so I would be excited to check out that new original V2 original. But some people can't feel I mean, I've handed knives to people that and told them that a knife had a little bit of blade play, vertical, up and down. And when I mean a little bit, I mean just a C hair, like just a tiniest bit, and they couldn't feel it. So some people can't feel, but if you move it, if you press hard enough and move a blade, you can feel that microscopic moving on some crossbar lock knives. I don't have a problem with any of my Kaisers. That clutch lock seems to be very good method too. And this drop bear is just the smoothest crossbar lock in the world. It literally just feels so smooth. Like, I don't know. You get lucky sometimes, and you get some knives sometimes that aren't, the tolerances aren't quite as good. But the Drop Bear original in LMAX seems to be a good candidate for the actual perfect. And then all the sheepdogs feel really good too. See, that one has a microscopic amount of blade play, vertical. You can't see it, but you can feel it. But it usually fixes it. See, that one's still. Sometimes you can fix it by pushing the crossbar lock forward and getting it seated properly, but this one does have that tiniest bit that I was talking about. Some people wouldn't be able to feel it. Well, it's stopped now. So yeah, that seating of the crossbar lock can matter. And if you push your fingers forward on it, sometimes that'll fix that little bit of blade play. But Kaiser's clutch lock seems to be pretty good, but Kunwu's, I would say, is just as good, if not better, because of how the interfacing feels and how much there feels to be left. Like, it feels like where that's interfacing with the top of that blade, that it could wear down and it would still have room to slide forward. And the unlock on it is very smooth. Like, that's where some of them catch, and you can feel them catching. So yeah, anyway, I would like to check out the original version 2 also, Sever. But this all started because of the quail versus the quoll. Quail versus quoll. Y'all know I just got the original not long ago. I sold mine to Pete, and I got another one. But I would like to get one of the new ones to compare. Yeah. Anyway, guys, anything else y'all feeling the urge to talk about this morning, or getting closer with the fixed blade to getting some metal work done? Man, this thing rounded off. It feels very comfortable in my hand now. I'm getting more and more excited about it by the day. I don't know if y'all can tell, but the rounded offness of it. And the transition down to the blade looks way better now. I'm still going to thin it up a little bit more and get it stretched out a little bit more of the... But I'm just taking my time. And like I said, it's kind of like a fun little therapeutic thing to do, but I'm just sitting here with this little block and just going like this. And since this block is real good and flat on the bottom, if you keep it at any angle, it's only going to hit the part down here. It's not going to hit the flats up here because of the angle it's at. But I'm just going to keep working at this. and getting it tapered down until I'm happy with it. And this Thursday, I think we're going to start grinding on doing the blade grind with the file. So that'll be cool. Tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow is episode 250. So we will do a giveaway. Yes, tomorrow's giveaway day. So you'll want to be here if you care about winning something for free. Can't believe we've made it to episode 250. That is pretty wild. The guy that owned the knife, John, is the guy that did the blade hole. He just did it to his own knife. He didn't send it to anybody to do it. He just did it himself. I'm pretty positive. So you just need to go back and ask. I can find that post for you. And find his name. So you can message him and ask him. But I think he did it himself. The way he talked about it sounded like he did it himself. Well, this fixed blade is right in between those two. Yeah, let's go look at it real quick before we end the stream and find the guy's name so you can message him. Let's see here. What was that? Something just happened. Oh, thank you, Mr. John. Crazy how stuff like that happens just out of the blue. And it's synchronicity with someone I'm talking to at the moment, or so let's see. Hyphen right here. This is the guy's name right here. He's very prevalent in this forum. He's been around this forum for a long time. But pretty sure he did it himself. But I am not positive of that. But a good way to figure out if he did or didn't, just be to ask him. He seems very friendly. I've talked to him numerous times. I was trying to see if he had a video of it. Yeah, I don't see where the first time he mentioned it was. We hyphen with hole mod is all he said on this one. Ah, here you go. Where do you get that hole mod? Looks great. And he sent a link to the guy, so evidently this guy did it. So there's your answer, Mr. John. There's a link to the guy that did it. So I was wrong, but we figured it out. So there it is. Someone else asked him in the post, and he put the link to the guy that did it. And it says, this is amazing. How much did they charge, if you don't mind? And he says about $115. So we figured it out. Give me a thumbs up for tracking that down. No, I'm just joking. So be prepared to spend $115 and the price of a high fin. And maybe that guy will hook you up. I am going to get a high fin XL and try to do that myself. And I will have to buy the blue one and bead blast it, I do believe, or buy the dark. Yeah, I'm probably going to buy the blue one and bead blast it, so I'll have a plain one. Then take that thumb stud out, and when you take the thumb stud out, I'll already have a hole to start working on. I'm going to try to do my own. I've got it added to my knife swap list, so when one of these pops up, I'm going to try to do one myself. Because that is a perfect knife for one. No flipper tab already, and plenty of room for a nice big blade hole. Don't be a blade hole. Yeah, the $115 might include shipping on the way back or something. I didn't realize people would charge that much money to do that. I've been telling people I would do them for $20. I'm not one that shape necessarily, because that one is, you know, it's just tapered. If you had a mill, it'd be pretty easy. And it looks like his lines, it's okay. But looks like he put like a little chamfer or something. Or there's some delamination in the blade up there. I don't know what's going on with that. I can't really figure out why there's that black line. It should be solid, and it looks like he put some, it's not exactly perfect, but you wouldn't expect it to be. There are some little places where it's, but yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to duplicate. You had a, and that's the XL and the regular. Both. And they both have that. See, this one doesn't have that little black line as much, the little chamfer, as this one does. Yeah, $60. Yeah, it's probably a chamfer line, but I think he could have done a little better job. Or just don't take pictures that show it. So yeah, it looks like he puts holes in lots of things. That's weird that they're yeah, see? That's what that knife needs, is a fuller mod. My LCT, the blade hole, is just, I think he reshaped that blade hole for the same reason. He put the fuller in. It's pretty cool though. But I've shown y'all the problem with my LCT. That hole needs to be bigger, but adding that fuller will do the same exact thing. Gives you a place to reverse flick off of because your finger doesn't line up with the hole when you set it down in your palm. See how far off his finger was from the hole when he, right there? Naturally, your finger wants to hit on down the blade. So that makes sense. If you had a mill, you could put that in easy. Yes, Sever 7. I can, possibly. Let me, I just get worried about showing our, conversations, so I don't go to messages on Instagram much. I would rather you post it in the Discord, if you don't mind, because I don't want to accidentally show an address or something we've talked about in private on the stream. But I think we should be okay. Looks like TC said these are waiting on him when he gets back home, possibly. What'd he say? New waiting on me when I got back into town. Oh, when he got back, he got those already. Sorry. But here is the knife Sever wanted me to show you, I guess. I do really like that one a lot, except for the recurve. Yep, that's a beaut. Makes a good sound too. And you can just post Instagram links in the chat if you want to, Sever. Yeah, if you just got links to stuff like that. What is going on? Good grief. Got issues today. Yeah. You posted that one and then you posted this one. I was going to show them both because I wasn't sure which one we were talking about. That's I'm a Little Teapot, short and stout. And that reminds me of the DPG heist, or DPG, let's see, hold on. DPX gear, sorry. DPX gear, Arizona custom knives. They make a little knife that reminds me of that one. Called this little thing right here reminds me a lot of that little knife you just showed. They actually made clones of some of these knives a while back. They make another one. I'm trying to remember which one it's called. It's not this heat. The Hest. I said Hest when I was first talking about it. Can't remember which one they made a clone of, but yeah, this little knife reminded me of that one you just showed. I was actually looking for a Satu knife itself, and I got a hold of him on Reddit. That's where I actually met him. But Satu Dave, he went around and collected all the Satu knives, and I wanted one for a while, so that's how I got a hold of him. I found him on Reddit, where he had bought them by Grayman Knives, Satu, and I wanted him to find me one. So he had 2 or 3 of them at the time that I messaged him, but he didn't want to sell one. But there's a picture of the version I wanted, I think. But that's how I got a hold. That's how I learned who Satu Dave was finding him on Reddit after he bought some of these knives. And he still likes just about every post that I make on Instagram. So he seems like a super cool guy. I've talked to him a few times on Reddit. But yeah, seems like a great guy. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to start winding this one down today. We're at the 2-hour mark. But like I said, tomorrow is episode 250. We're going to do a giveaway. So make sure you're here. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a great Monday and a good start to your work week. And if y'all need me, reach out. Getting really excited about this fixed blade. I don't know if y'all can tell. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. Fendigog, thank you for hopping in at the end. Mitchell, Robin, appreciate y'all. Nick, John, TC, Sever7, Fred, appreciate you, buddy. Ed, background, still listening to me. Hope you have a good Monday, sir. Pete, busy man. Can't join us as much as you used to. That sucks. If I didn't say Robin, have a good day, sir. Who else? Who else said something today? I think that's about it today. All those lurkers in the background. Anyway, guys, hope y'all have a good one.